Well, good evening and welcome to another edition of the Hampden Football Netball League Senior Footy Show. No footy last weekend, but there was under-23 interleague footy and also under-17 footy. And as I say, very good evening, Hilly. Last weekend, a really huge, overwhelming success. It was fantastic, wasn't it?
Oh, it was great being up at Ballarat. Under-17 footy, under-23. Love the concept. The brand of footy that was played, especially in the under-23 game, was terrific. Ballarat, really quick, slick side. But I thought Hampton performed really, really well as well. So looking forward to dissecting a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. And, well, the coach of the Hampden Football Netball League was Jonathan Brown. We had him on last week, Big Brownie, wonderful supporter of all things Hampden. And talking about wonderful supporters, this man put his hand up to get involved at the Ballarat Football League. It was sensational to see. And he's 1 from 1 now as a coach. And I'm speaking of Anthony Koutafidis. And Kouta, how are you, buddy?
Very well, thanks, boys. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Hey, Kouta, fantastic game last week, mate. I know the concept you absolutely loved. It was about showcasing the talent across the both leagues and absolutely done that in spades. A fantastic victory, 16 points to the Ballarat Football League, but it was just a great standard of footy, wasn't it?
It was unbelievable, boys. I was so thrilled that I was involved. I'm very, very fortunate and lucky that they asked me. They asked me just before COVID, the Ballarat Football League, to coach them then. Unfortunately, because of COVID, the game didn't go ahead. But as soon as they reached out this year, I was on board. And I know how wonderful the Hampden League is, and I know how dominant they've been actually lately. I know the last time they played, they easily defeated Ballarat. And both teams were fabulous out there. And there is great talent, like we said, in both leagues. And I think it was good for hopefully some of these AFL recruiters to have their eyes and just have a look at some of these talents. And I think how good they are now, but in a system where they'll be able to play footy more full-time and really develop under great coaches, who knows how well they can play. So I was very lucky to be involved, and Brownie's a great man and a great supporter of the Hampden League, as you boys know.
Cootie, were you surprised on the standard that was produced on the weekend? Obviously, you would have had a bit of inkling and you've seen Ballarat train and so forth, but were you surprised on how good a brand of football was played between the two sides?
I really was. I mean, I've been to a lot of local football clubs. I do a lot of football promos, and I get to go there. But I think I had the same vision of turning up to the Ballarat training as what I did at some of these local football clubs. But I turned up there and I'm thinking, that's all right, watch this, I'll help these guys. And after that first training session, I sat there and went, you know what, they're actually quite elite, these players. And their standard was a lot higher than what I thought. And as I sat down with the assistant coaches and they started to show me some of the game plans, the switching, and the setups. I'm scratching my head, thinking, oh "My God, this is unbelievable stuff." And so, I was very privileged that I got to see that and really understand what goes on at these local levels. And it's a lot more complicated and almost, I reckon, AFL level stuff, a lot more closer than I ever imagined. So it was wonderful to be able to see that.
It was actually interesting you say that, Kouta, because Brownie obviously come down and trained the boys on Thursday night. And one of the things he was really massive on was the level that these kids are at. They're obviously well coached, and he was full of praise for the coaches in the Hampden Football Netball League and obviously made exactly the same in the BFL.
I had Travis, I think he's a Sunbury coach, and then I had Frank, and then I had Jake. And 3 fabulous coaches, and I probably spent more time with Travis, maybe more than the other 2, well, maybe a little bit more, but his knowledge of the game was just far beyond I could have ever imagined. And I said to him, as much as he's a Carlton man, I said to him, you taught me so much about the game, and I'm coaching the under-13s Ivanhoe Junior Football Club now because my young boy Lucas plays there, and I keep it quite basic there because, I mean, obviously the talent isn't that where it needs to be, and hopefully we can develop that. But now at least I have that vision of where I need to get to with these young kids from what I learned from these assistant coaches. So both leagues, Hampden and Ballarat, are in a great state, but like Brownie puts in a lot of effort for the Hampden League, and I was lucky enough to be involved with Ballarat. We love footy, and we just want to continue seeing these young players play this wonderful game. When I think how lucky I was being born here in Australia, but with migrant parents who had no idea about the game. My brother and I had to fight them to go on and play. And what that game did for us and our family was wonderful. I just want everyone to make sure they embrace this game of footy. We want to continually see it grow and develop and see some more superstars coming through the AFL.
Kouta, just back to the game. Obviously, Hampton had a great start. I think they kicked 4 goals, 5. And you guys might have kicked two or three in the first quarter, but then that late goal in the first quarter then led to a bit of momentum, and I think he's banged 4 or 5 in a row in the second term. And you got your outside run, but also too when you went through the corridor, you looked really dangerous.
Yeah, you're spot on there. I mean, I think if the Hampton lead kicked straight early on, it might have put us a little bit more under pressure. Unfortunately, they didn't, and we were very accurate with our goal kicking at that stage. So it sort of like kept us in the game. There was no doubt the Hampton were the bigger body kind of team, and they put the pressure on us. But yeah, you're right. Once we got our run going through the midfield and the way the setups were, it went down to plan. We made a lot of errors early on in our first quarter. I think our turnovers were something like 7-1. So it was very costly turnovers, but that's what it takes really if you want to win the games. You've got to take those risks. And as they started to pay off later on, we really did start to look really dangerous, boys. And if it wasn't the last quarter, we had the hiccups of goal kicking, what Hampton did in the first quarter. I think, I don't know how many points we kicked in that last quarter, 5 or 6 or 7. We could have really run away with it. But to Hampton's credit, they started to really get going. We looked like we were tiring. We had one player less on the bench. And I was a little bit worried there towards the end, I must say, until our skipper, Grant, took that mark on the top of the screen.
Might just have a little technical glitch there, but I think we've got you back now, big fella. Hey, hey, Cooter, I just want to run through some of the players, mate. Riley O'Keefe, Kyle ball kick 3. O'Keefe was that intercept mark across us half back. He was fantastic. Harrison Mitten-Connell all day was sensational. Jakey Egan, Riley Polkinghorne. You had a list of really good players, but the one that really stood out for me was a little Beyond Borg. I loved him. He had a little bit of X factor about him, and he was a good finisher in front of the big sticks as well.
Yeah, you named some sensational players here. Mitten-Connell played with his father, Simon Mitten-Connell, at Carlton before he went to Sydney. And then I had the privilege to coach his son, who's a fabulous player. He had some turnovers there, but other than that, he was just unbelievable. But you're right, Borg was I actually got along with him really well from the first training session. He's one of those characters, and just his speed at training was just like mind-blowing to me. And so to see him excel on that day was wonderful. We gave it to him a little bit in the last quarter. We said you could have handballed that off, but I was sitting in the coach's box thinking, mate, you've had that great a game that you deserve to have just maybe been a little bit selfish to go on and try to kick a goal, and he missed it. And we told him, but he deserved to go for it. That he was just some crucial goals that he kicked for us that made such a big difference.
Hey, Cooter, 1 from the coaching, mate. Ballarat, they look to sign you up on a long contract deal, mate, to keep you going. The momentum's beautiful at the moment.
Yeah, I said to the boys, we win this one, I'll sign a big 5-year deal and hang around for the next 5. But still waiting for the phone call to come through. It hasn't quite come. I'm still waiting anyway. We'll see what happens. But look, I'll definitely put my hand up if it occurs. And as I said to the boys before the game, sometimes these sort of things you think, why am I playing? I've got the rest of the season to play. Can I be bothered? But at the end of the day, I said to them, you'll walk off and remember this game forever. And I dare say all the boys would still be thinking about the game right now. That's how incredible it was. And that's both teams. And I know Hampton were disappointed that they lost, but, it was still just a wonderful game. And if it happens again next year, which we all do hope that it does. And I know it'll be another fierce competition between the two wonderful leagues. And so we take bragging rights this year, but we don't say we're any better than what you guys are. You guys probably had some players missing like we did. We could have bolstered the team, but what a wonderful game it was. 4 quarters. There was no trouble. It was just high-skilled, just toughness of contest after contest. It was just great to watch.
Hey, Cooter, Brandy told us, I don't know whether you might have picked up on this, mate, but he said he played on you in his 100th game, and the question was posed, he thought he should have took the autograph book out because he was in awe, and he said, I don't know what they were doing putting me through the midfield either, but the question was asked before the game. We said, well, how did you fare that day? And he goes, well, I don't know whether Cooter realised this, but when they read out the names on Brownlow night, I got the 3 votes, so he reckons he had one up on you, big fella.
I don't remember that, but I probably did. I seen him have some massive games against us, and one of them where he kicked 10 goals, and I think that might have been Dennis Pagan's last hurrah at the football club. He was just such a courageous player, Brownie, and just a wonderful player for the AFL. And just, what, he gets white line fever because we see him more angry on the ground, but off the field he's just a wonderful, down-to-earth guy.
No, he's an absolute beauty. And, mate, I can remember you, Kurt. I don't know whether I reckon it was 95, mate, at Optus Oval. It was against your side, Hilly the Cats. I reckon you had 45 that day. Can you remember that day, Kurt? I've never seen a performance like that. I remember going away, and I don't even barry for Carlton or Geelong. I'm a Richmond man. But I remember just going away that day. I was only about 19 or 20, just going, this bloke's an absolute freak. I've never seen anything like it. Can you remember that game?
Oh, mate, you boys are testing my memory. I'm going to sound like an absolute fool when I say I don't. I remember some big games, but not that one.
Hey, mate, listen, great stuff. We really appreciate your time. Well done for putting your hand up. Well done for getting involved and making this even more special. It was absolutely sensational to have yourself, Brownie, involved, and all the coaches. There was a high level of coaches right across the board, mate. And we can't thank you enough. And well done to the Ballarat Football League. Matty Nevitt, all the crew up there done a magnificent job, mate. So well done.
Thanks very much, boys. All the best.
What a good man.
Yeah,
How good was
fella,
that?
Cooter.
Oh, geez, he was a gun.
Hey, we should have asked him too whether he remembers playing on the great Greg Eyes Kelson back in that game.
The old Maryvale East game.
Maryvale, I think you played for Maryvale and I played for East Warrnambool.
I was the umpire that day
Oh,
too. Yeah, I umpired that game. Hey, listen, just for the Hammond Footy League too, Mac Peterson, he was sensational, courageous, hard at it all day. He took his game to a new level. Well done to him. He was the Hammond League's best. Richard Nixon, best on
He was unbelievable. Like, you know how I think at the end of the game we spoke about one player that sort of just took us by surprise. And you know, Mac's been a great player for Croydon this year and last year, but gee whiz, it was just a different side of Mac Peterson. We've seen like uncompromising at the contest. Like, he sort of had a bit of Jonathan Brown about him. There was that one contest on that far outer side half-foot flank. He had eyes for the footy. Yeah. Got hit hard, but guess what? He bounced straight back up like a Mac truck. And he was terrific, Mac Peterson. Really impressed with him. And I reckon Chris McLaren in the box would have been thinking, yep, this kid, you know, he's doing well. Yeah, no, absolutely. He's doing sensationally well. Some of the other better players, Jackson Grundy played really well. Toby Jennings, Paddy O'Sullivan, Hamish Sinnott, all the kind. I thought Big Mark Marriott. Yeah, terrific. I thought Ollie Bridgewater. Yep. Yeah, he certainly, as the game went on, he got right into it. And he's sort of been a little bit underdone too. Obviously, injuries with, I think, down his quads or in his groin area sort of hurt him a little bit this year. So, but I thought he actually performed really well. And I thought Jet Birmingham was pretty sound as vice captain as well. You know, he did some nice things in that middle too. They all did. You know, Hopper come in, you know, in spits and spurts, you know, when they need him early. Riley Hutchins kicked a couple of crucial goals in that third quarter, which was really needed. Bailey Jenkinson, you know, it was right Isaac solid. Thomas, I thought, was terrific down back. He had a big job on one of the league goal kick, leading very goal good player. Very good player. So, well done to everyone. Rory Gill, of course, Hamish Cook. You know, they all showed a bit, I reckon, which is fantastic. So, well done to everybody involved. I must give a big shout out. Well, we've given Brandy a big pump up, but Lee McCluskey, Dan O'Keefe, Chris McLaren, Big Vards. Honestly, well done to those guys. They really put their heart and soul, and I think they might have had a fair old trip on the way home, the boys. And we must thank Moose McElroy, Big Market, of course, Raffy's Flying Horse, and Frolic Bar, who's a great sponsor of the Hammond League, but they've also got a pub in Ballarat called the Robin Hood, and they looked after us unbelievably well. Fed us, it was unreal. So can't thank those guys enough. Absolutely magnificent. But all in all, and the Clinton Bolsh Cup, of course, it was just a really, really wonderful weekend of football. It's amazing. We knew that the players were going to buy into it. When you got Brownie and Macca and Vards and these blokes putting their hand up the coach, you know, you want to play for these fellas, even if you're in an opposition team. But the sponsors have bought into it as well. Yeah. You know, like Big Moose didn't have to do what he's done. No, that's right. That. You know, and a lot of, you know, McDonald's, Sungold, Powercorp, Clinton Bolsh, Warrnambool Nissan, Southwest TAFE, like they don't have to add any more to what they're already doing, but they're buying into the product and it's enormous. No, absolutely. And well done to the Hand of Football Netball League too. Shane Trelfel and the whole executive. It was great to see a lot of them up there too. It was just awesome. And well done to the under-17s too, as we touched on earlier. Brett Taylor, Benny Parkinson, and the crew. Justin Impey from Portland as well, mate. That was a great victory. Some great kids there that ran around, and they just really loved the experience. And that's at the end of the day, that's what it was all about. Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, you know, AFL Victoria, they're Benny Kavanagh, the CEO of AFL Victoria. I think they would have taken a lot of notice, going, hey, this concept's going to be something of the future. You know, the interleague's not what it used to be with the older players and so forth. But if we can harness some of those talents of the young ones, it might have missed, you know, the Rebels or the Falcons or whatever it may have been at under 18 level. get another little chance out of it. It's
Yeah,
great
it's going to
idea.
be a beauty. Hey, round 12 this weekend, our match of the day, Koroit taking on Port Fairy. All of a sudden, this game takes on so much, doesn't it? Because if the Saints lose, they go back into the rut a little bit, and they've got South Warrnambool next week, which is going to be a tough encounter for them. If Port Fairy win, they're up and about all of a sudden. If they lose, well, they just lose that little bit of momentum and that little touch within that top 5.
Well, there's so many little kinks in the ladder where there's 2 points and 6 points ahead and so forth. Port Fairy, I was going through it the other night. Port Fairy on a 4.5 game winning streak, so I'll count that good form against Cobden in that
the draw.
But they've won their last 4. Koroit have won their last 3, and I reckon they're starting to build a little bit of momentum.
Definitely.
So just Koroit, they just did what they needed to do in the early parts of getting some players back. Momentum starting to play in. And as we know with Koroit, they know how to play finals footy. So they're doing everything right, but it's a really big matchup. And, 12 months ago, we wouldn't have been speaking highly about this match, obviously, with the fortunes
it was
of Port
first v
Fairy
last.
and so forth.
Yeah, so it's a big turnaround in the space of 12 months, and it's a Hammer League Live match today. I must admit, I'm really looking forward to it. I reckon it's going to be a belter. It's rivalry round, it seems like, this weekend, because South Warrnambool taking on Warrnambool up at the Friendly Societies Park. Big game for the Blues here for mine.
Yep.
Roosters have got a lot of injuries, we know that, but they're sitting pretty on top of the ladder. A little bit of leeway at the moment. The Blues really disappointing last start against Port Fairy.
Yeah, I reckon Doc would have analysed that performance pretty highly and would have thought, this is where we've got to improve on. They've got a couple of injuries as well, but I know they'll welcome back a few players this week. Yeah, tell you what, it's a season-defining game for the Blues for mine this week.
Massive
it really
game.
is. And
if they lose, their season's nearly slipped away.
Well, it just makes that a little bit harder to try and keep in touch, depending on other results and so forth as well. But season-defining game for the Blues.
And Hamilton taking on Portland, another close rivalry there between both those clubs, mate. That's going to be game on too.
Well, Hamilton's form has been all right.
Nah, to be honest, both sides have. Portland, I think you put a line through that. I think Holdy was saying to the boys, we haven't played that bad for a long time.
Yeah.
So they're going to kind of come out with a bit of steel, I reckon, against their arch enemy.
It was close last time around. I think Hamilton get the chocolates this time around, only just.
I might go with the Portland Tigers. Hey, Terang Mortlake Cobden, this is another massive game. The Blood's got a few missing at the moment. Cobden are going to sniff a little bit of blood here for mine, and I think they're a massive chance.
Yeah, I don't want to tip this one at the moment. I need to see the signs on Thursday because I think it could go either way.
Mark Marritt's going to be the key. If he's back for Cobden, geez, he was good. He's a good player.
He lifted that level, didn't he? He lifted, and obviously, and Pusky, who were the ruckman for Ballarat he was
played well.
Pretty sound,
no, absolutely. And the final game, Camperdown taking on the North Warrnambool Eagles. Haven't been too bad, Camperdown, but they need a scalp on their home deck. Could they upset the Eagles with no Nathan Vardy?
Yeah, well, they beat them last time around, so I think they'll take a lot out of that performance, and no doubt Swaney will have a look at the tape and see what they did well. Again, it's probably another season-defining game for them as well. Obviously, they're in the Blues, are still in that mix, but if they both drop, it just makes that a little bit harder as we get into the next couple of weeks. So, some good games.
Going to be an absolute ripper. And well done to Nathan Vardy and also Adam Dowie. They're kind of the handing over the reins for next year for the North Warrnambool Eagles. Adam Dowie's been a wonderful coach for such a long period of time in the Hamden Football Netball League. I think he's played when he's coached, I think there's only been 1 year he's missed out on playing in a grand final.
Yeah, right.
I'm pretty sure. Tildy Carter's got that stat for it. I'll get that before Saturday.
Yeah.
But it's an amazing record. He's a superstar. And well done to Vards. And he had a little bit of a taste of coaching. And just by all accounts and seeing him and talking to Brownie and all the boys, they said that he absolutely loved it and took to it. No worries at all. He was the midfield coach last weekend and he loved it.
He seems like he's a real good communicator and obviously, he's going to learn well off Wigsy because Wigsy's a very good communicator as well. But it was interesting talking to him. He said, I'm still very firmly focused on 2023 with the side, but he's still got that little bit of, thought process for what next year could look like as well. But, that's a good appointment.
Yeah, fantastic appointment, that is for sure. Hey, listen, it's going to be an awesome round 12 action in the Hamden Football Netball League this weekend. Get out and have a look for yourself because it's rivalry round. All teams going up against each other, against their arch enemies, which I think is absolutely magnificent. Hey, we hope to see you at the Footy and the Netball this weekend. Hilly, see you later, buddy.
See you, mate.